what's going on, everyone? Before we get into our conversation, I want to let you know this podcast is sponsored by BetRivers.com. BetRivers.com, the best place for all your sports gambling needs. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. You can also watch all of these episodes on the Field of 68 YouTube channel. Now, let's get into our conversation. Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Eric Devendorf, your host of the Scorer'S Table podcast. And tonight we have on a point guard. You hear what I'm saying? He was born in D.C., played for the Cuse from 1985 to 1989, played 12 years in the league, one of the NCAA's all-time assist leaders, and he was just one of the greatest players of all time to come through the Cuse. So I appreciate you coming on. The General, my guy, Sherman Douglas. What's going on, man?
Thanks for having me down here, Eric.
No, I appreciate you coming on. So let's start at DC, man. Growing up in DC, tell me about that and kind of, I guess, where the love of the game started for you.
Well, I think DC is just like pretty much a lot of people. It started on the playground, and it just started at home, just outside, just wanting to get a feel for basketball, getting a love for basketball. And when I was young, I wanted to get in a lot of other sports. I played football, I played baseball, and basketball is something that I kind of gravitated to. It was something where we had a basketball court in our neighborhood. So in the summertime, we all wanted to play. And one of the worst things for me was I was young and I always wanted to play with the older guys. And one thing happened when you play with the older guys, you get picked last. But then that's how you get better playing with them. And I can remember a lot of times when you lose one game in the neighborhood, you got to sit for like 2 hours just before you play another game. And I never to do that. It always hurt me to sit out that long of a time because it gets dark. You know, guys don't play the same anymore. After a while, they get old, they get tired. And I always wanted to keep winning. So winning was a part of me growing up. Playing basketball obviously was a love, and just winning was definitely a part of what I was wanting to do.
So like who introduced you to the game, or was it kind of like yourself just going onto the park by yourself, or you had like a group of friends, or how was that?
It was neighborhood. It was rec center. It was class. It was, the friends in the neighborhood. You want to just get around and play. We played football. It was crazy. On the grass, we played tackle. On the cement, we played touch. So that's what we did. We just played all the time.
So what age do you think for you with the hooping, were you kind of like, all right, this is what I want to do. I think I'm pretty good.
Ooh, I don't think I ever got that comfortable where I knew that I love playing basketball. I love watch playing basketball on TV. I don't think I ever got that comfortable enough where I say, oh, well, I'm going to be in the NBA. This is what I wanted to do. I always want to keep pushing myself and striving to be the best I possibly can, because when you're small and you're short, people think when I was young going, I was always the tall guy. Oh, look at him, he's 6'7", 6'8". You're definitely gonna be in the NBA. But when you're tall, you got to keep scrapping. You got to keep playing hard. You have to be motivated because there's always another guy and on the other side of town who wants to prove himself against you.
So what part of DC are you from? Is it because I know Barry, would you play growing up in, was it Barry Farms?
I didn't play in Barry Farms. I was in Southeast DC.
Okay.
I played a lot in Southeast and Northeast because that's when my high school was in Northeast.
Okay. And so I guess what age was like where people were like, damn, this dude Sherman, he all right, like in schools like kind of started, coming to you?
Well, I think that what put like on the map with me, it was my senior year. We had a team and we were good. My junior year, we had all juniors pretty much on our starting five. And the senior year, everybody came back. So my junior year was like 24-6. My senior year, we had everybody came back throughout the whole summer league. We didn't lose any game, and that whole senior year, we didn't lose no game. The word around town was getting, oh, you got to see these guys play, because we played pressing, we played full court, and we were in your face for the whole 40 minutes. Yeah. So they knew what we were about. They knew what type of team. We had a small team, but we were a pressing team, and we were good. We beat a lot of good teams.
So what schools you think, who was the first school to reach out to you? And I guess what were the top schools besides Syracuse, and why did you end up choosing Syracuse?
Well, I think that one thing about my high school coach, he never wanted to give us any letters only during your senior year. He didn't want nobody to get big headed. So
Okay.
your 11th grade year, 10th grade year, there were no letters. If they did come to you, he would just throw them away because he said they doesn't mean anything. He wants the school to come play. He didn't want nobody to get big headed. So when our senior year, when the word was getting around that how good we were as a team, I had to visit Old Dominion because that school showed me love for a long time, and they always wanted me to come down and see their school. So I wanted to see their school and visit them. And I visited Rutgers. Those are the only two schools I visit my senior year. But the University of Maryland came on late because as you know, a lot of times they go for the A and the B guy, and when those guys go somewhere else, they fall in different categories. They went to me. And the University of Maryland, Connecticut came on, and then Syracuse came on late. When we got really, really late in the season, Syracuse came on. And as you know, just watching Syracuse in the Big East, I was like, oh, this is something that I would really like to go to. But they had Pearl there. So I didn't know what I wanted to do. And my coach said, if you go there, you know you're going to have to sit for a minute because he's there. But I wanted to take that gamble.
So who was recruiting you from Cuse?
That was Wayne Morgan.
Okay, my guy Wayne. Okay.
Wayne Morgan was recruiting me. I think he got the word from one of our high school rivalries. Oh, you got to see this guy, and he came down to recruit me.
So you get into Cuse your freshman year, coming from high school. Like you said, you didn't play a lot because you're playing behind Pearl, but you also had guys like Ronnie and Raphael Addison. So 2-3 NBA guys right there. So what was that like for you coming in, playing a lot, then coming in your freshman year, kind of, play? I think you played like 12 minutes a game, but still playing with those guys, learning a lot from those guys. It
was tough because what happens is, when we played St. Bonaventure, Cornell, Canisius, all those games, you're getting a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
Right. The coach shortened the rotation. It was frustrating for me because I thought I practiced hard. So I wanted to get in the game. And I was in one of those situations where I would try to push Pearl. I knew he was a better player than me at that particular time. And we had a lot of guys on the bench. It was Rodney Walker. Howard was on the bench for a little bit. Greg Monroe, Dirk Brower. We had a nice bench. And we used to pressure the older guys. It was tough for me. I think that wasn't really the tough part, basketball. It was outside of basketball that was tough for me because I look at it, my freshman year, the seniors was Raphael Addison and Wendell Alexis was the two seniors. But for me as a point guard, I kept seeing like Earl Duncan, Stephen Thompson, and a lot of guards and for recruiting. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a guard. I'm a point guard. These guys coming to take my spot if Pearl leaves. And the rumor was that Pearl was going to leave. So that was my adjustment, seeing guys being recruited in front of you. That was tough for me.
So what were those practices like though? Like because I know you, like you said, about Pearl coming in, what type of player he is, but you from DC, I know how dudes is from DC. You a competitive dude. So you coming in there going after it. Was Pearl like a guy who was kind of talking to you like in practice about it, or how was that?
He took practice a little easy. He was relaxed. He didn't really, you had to really get up under his skin to get him going. And I would push him, but I wouldn't try to disrespect him or anything like that because physically he was way bigger than what I was when I came in as a freshman. So I just wanted to push myself and I wanted to make myself better. And the only way that I could do that was push him and try to make him better, make myself better.
Because overall that season as a team, I think you guys ended up second in the Big East, right?
Where
St. John's was first, I believe.
I think St. John's. All I remember us losing to St. John's in the Big East tournament. That I do remember. I think Walter Burry blocked Pearl shot was the second shot. I didn't play that game. It was a championship game in Madison Square Garden. I remember that.
So was Chris Mullen on that team, on that St. John's team?
No, he was gone. It was just Walter Burry, obviously, Willie Glass, Shelton Jones, Mark Jackson. I think maybe Bill Whittington, maybe, or something like that. So yeah, they had
Bill Whittington. Okay.
Yeah, they had a nice team.
Let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at Bet Rivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up with Bet Rivers yet, now's the time because they are offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. But what sets them apart is that they require just one playthrough to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With basketball season right around the corner, there's never been a better time to get in on the action by going to betrivers.com today or downloading the BetRivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. Gambling problem? Call telephone number 1-800-GAMBLER. So, okay, your freshman year, like you said, you don't play as much. You kind of go through those struggles on and off the court. But then next year comes about, he hands you the keys to the car. You know what I mean? It's like you really have an All-American type of year, 17-8. You lead the team to the national championship. You obviously had Ronnie coming back, and then you had two big-time freshmen come in with Derek and Stevie. What was that like for you, though, getting the keys to the car? What was that? How was your mindset changed?
It was refreshing. I knew how coach likes to, the starting five gonna play their minutes. Right. So I knew I could play my minutes. I just wanted to not screw this up. And I was a little nervous at first because it's easy seeing it from the side. But now I got to play. I got to live up to Pearl expectations and live up to what I wanted to do. So once he gave me the ball and told me this to go make plays for other guys, that was the easy thing because I've been doing that my whole life. That was the easy part. What made my transition a lot smoother was having Ronnie, Dirk, and Steven, and Greg Monroe, and Howard Trish. We had guys who compliment me. Greg and Howard was guys who were seniors. Greg had an outstanding jump shot. He could hit the jump shot when he was open. So it was easy for me. If I'm driving, I'm kicking to Greg Monroe, I knew he could knock it down. Now, filling the lanes, Stephen Thompson could fill the lane and finish with the best of them. So he had great hands. Derek obviously had great hands, and Ronnie, for a center, had great hands. So all I had to do was give them the ball in the right situations, and I knew they could finish.
You had to get them the ball in the right situation, but you had to make the right read too. I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand how hard that is because it's like this, right? It's like you got to make it in that quick of a second. So I know having those guys made it a lot easier on you, but how tough was that coming in, like you said, living up those expectations and then being able to play those type of minutes in that environment, each and every game? It
was, for playing with Ronnie was easy. All you had to do is give him the ball. He post up, so I knew how to make my post entries. That was easy. The transition wasn't really that hard on the court once I got there, once I got my confidence going, because I played point guard my whole life. I knew how to get the guy's ball in the right situation. Dirk was a lot easier for a freshman because he could face up and you could throw it to him with his back to the basket. So he wasn't just like Ronnie, just you had to throw it to him with his back to the basket and tell him to dribble, get it. Dirk can face up and get his on his own. That made my job easy. Stephen Thompson will fill the lane and finish. So my job was easy. The only thing I had to worry about was myself, trying to get myself involved in the offense.
What did you want to do? What did you like doing more, scoring or passing?
I think back then, it's different with point guards now. They want to jack it up from 35. But when I was playing, it was get the guy the ball, get the center the ball to finish around the basket, get the guys, Ronnie, Stephen Thompson, Howard Trish, who filling in the lanes, get them the ball to finish. That was the job of the point guards back then.
I mean, you still averaged 17. So you were scoring the ball. Like, you averaged 17 points. You having some games where you having 20, 25. You know what I mean?
I had to get mine too. That was about having great athletes on your team. Mm-hmm. And then fill the lanes. It opens up everything for you. And even when teams would try to play us zones, we had Greg Monroe to shoot the ball from the outside. Dirk could step out and face up and hit jump shots. So that team complemented each other well.
Did you think from your freshman year, did you learn anything from Pearl, just going through that season from him that you kind of took with you into that sophomore year that you think might have helped you?
I think just open court, just watching how he got his in the half court offense when he got his points. And you looking and you learning how they played him, other teams play him. You look at, like, in the open court, how he maneuvered. He had a great left to right crossover that was just unreal. This how he finished in the open court. That because we had totally two different games, but how he finished in the open court and how he maneuvered and ran the offense, I kind of learned a lot from him.
So okay, we'll stay in 1987. You lead them to the national championship. I know this is a tough question, but what do you think in that game you guys could have done differently that would have won you the game? Is there any one point in the game where you could be like, damn, I wish we'd have got that stop or I'd have made that look?
Well, I think that we just didn't finish the game. I mean, you got to give Indiana credit. They played a great game. We just didn't finish the game, where it was free throws down the stretch or it was the defensive rotation. We just didn't finish the game the way we were supposed to. I look at that game and I look back, and that's one of the games you look back and like, man, we should have won the national championship that year. We were young, but we were talented, and we just didn't finish the game.
And you look back on that like we should have won because we were probably the favorites, right?
No, we weren't the favorite.
Oh, you were the favorite because that's Bob Knight. Yeah, okay, right.
And it definitely were the favorite. And I look at it, I think that probably in the Final Four, and I don't know the betting lines, but I will probably think that UNLV may have been that favorite.
Okay.
Because they had a team that was stacked then down there. So UNLV.
Who was the coach then? Tarkanian?
Tarkanian was back there. I think they had, I think that was Armin Gilliam and a bunch of guys on their team that were pretty good.
Okay. So after that year, your next 2 years, I mean, you were All-American. Your third year, you went down to 16, but you averaged more assists. And then your senior year, you went up back to 18 and 8. And you played, I mean, I tell you, you played in I played in the Big East, and I call it the real Big East for sure. But you played in the real Big East. You know, when you played in the games where they were still allowed to scrap a little bit. You know what I mean? So I guess what games or what team, you know, every time you played them, you already knew it was going to go down.
Well, obviously, you know, Georgetown it's going to be a dog fight. Pittsburgh was a fight too. Georgetown, Pittsburgh was always going to be tough to play because Georgetown, they're going to pick up 4. They're going to try to harass you. They're going to try to do everything to take you out of their game. And it was going to be tough. It was always, you look back at it. And one of the things, and I think I was just talking to somebody, I was just up to Syracuse last week. And one of the things I say I was proud of was in 4 years straight, we went to the Big East tournament and we went to the championship game. That was hard to do.
That's tough.
And it was amazing how we do it because, and I look back and I said, we were young, but we get there on Friday, we out Friday, Saturday, Sunday, all the time. And we made it to the championship game. And we only won it once, but we were in it. And it was just amazing how tough the competition was. I think of Seton Hall, Providence, Connecticut. I mean, it was just Villanova. All those teams were hard to play against, especially when you got to play them 3 times in 1 year. It was tough. It was a half court. It was physical. But that's how I grew up, playing physical basketball, tough basketball, and I liked it. One thing when we got Stephen from Crenshaw, DC from Detroit, me from DC, and we had we wouldn't go back down from nobody. That was established already. So we were cool playing against anybody.
Yeah, that's when toughness was real. Like, I mean, I don't know, like it's just different now. I don't see as much like the toughness that I used to see. And I'm not saying that the guys aren't talented. It's just like a different mindset. You know what I mean?
It's a different mindset, but I look at guys in the NBA. I think they're probably more skilled than what we were back then. You know, with the AAUs, with the ball handling, with the shooting. You know, especially when you take out power forwards now. The power forwards are just small forwards that steps out and shoot threes. They are, especially, and you look at the point guards. They are more talented. They have more talent probably than we had, but I think that we had more, it was a little bit more physical and it was harder to score, definitely harder to score because nobody will let you just go one-on-one and cross you over and all. No, you put your arm on them, you're going one way and that's the only way you're going.
Who do you think for you was the toughest guy you had to play against in the Big East?
Personally, I mean, somebody tough. Billy Donovan was tough.
Ooh, Billy D. Okay.
Billy Donovan and Dana Barros was tough because they were small and then they ran around a lot of picks and they set picks for them. So that was tough for you because you had your work cut out, but you had to chase them around. But Billy Donovan and the way Providence played, Providence picked you up full court. They were probably the only team that would press us like that. But with Rick Pitino and Providence and their team, they picked up full court, and Billy Donovan had a crossover himself, and he could shoot threes. They were an exciting open court team.
Were you guys pressing back then?
We not a lot, but we did. We played a lot more man to man than what they do now because me and DC, we talk to coach. Hey, look, coach, you have all these athletes on the team. We can't sit back and play a zone. That's yeah. It's a 45-second clock. So what teams would do, they would shorten the game and hold the ball around and throw it around. So we got to play man. We got to get. You can't get all these thoroughbreds and say, oh, well, we're going to keep them back in the stable. You got to let us go. And once he figured out that our best way to play was playing man to man, but you can mix up some zones. It's nothing like, I always like, you got to mix it up. You can't get nobody a steady diet of any one particular thing. You have to mix it up. Sometimes you go to zone. Sometimes you play man to man. You press.
So I guess back then, what percentage? Because now it's like 100% zone. You know what I mean? Like what percentage back then were you playing man?
Ooh, we were probably up to 60 to 70% man. At least played a lot of. You couldn't and then we weren't a great free throw shooting team. So if you do that, you shorten the game. It's a 45-second clock. So you could pass the ball around, and then the games are in the 40s. We need the games in the 70s and the 80s and run up and down the court.
That's when, for me, that's what, like, all the great Syracuse teams could do this. Like, they was just getting up and down. That's easy buckets.
Right, but I look at it now, and I haven't watched any of the games this year, but I haven't seen, the athletes come in like we had back in the day. I just don't see that anymore. And that's what I wish that we could have a 5-star legitimate 1, 2, 3 in that class come to Syracuse. I haven't seen that in a while.
Yeah, it's definitely been personnel has changed a little bit for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, and now you got to change it up when you got different guys. You can do shit with different. You got long athletic guys back there. You can switch it up a little bit. You got to kind of, go by how the guys can, athletically.
You have to coach towards your talent. You can't just put in a system and say, this is my system, run it. Sometimes you have to change it towards the talent that you have.
100%. What was your favorite Syracuse basketball moment for you?
Me personally, I think was satisfying for me. I think when I broke the assist record and they were throwing records on the court, I took pride in that because I came there and just where I came from, and I was like, oh man, I've done something. And I was the NCAA leading assist, all-time assist in the Big East. And you look at the people who came through that school and they came through that conference in that particular time, and me being that, I was like, oh man. And then I was looking, I was like, you look back, you're like 2,000 points and almost had 1,000 assists. It's like you did your job of getting everybody the ball and you scored too.
And that's tough. That's tough to be able to get people in their spots, make those decisions, and then still get your own. That's when you're playing. And you still the all-time assist leader in Q's history as well. Yeah.
Well, I mean, guys don't stick around anymore. They not. If you stay for 4 years, it's like something wrong with you. So the game is changed and rules are changing now where people just can transfer. If the coach yell at them, it's just over.
Yeah, I mean, I guess what's your thought on that too? The transfer portal, like it's guys I feel like are just running into the first adversity that hits them and they're like, nah, I'm gone.
I think that they wanted to do it because the coaches can get up and go anywhere. It's hard for a coach to tell you, hey, stay here and I'm gonna be here, sign a long-term extension, and then get up and go to another school the next year and coach. How can you tell a player he has to sit out when a coach signs a long-term deal and get out and the next year goes to somewhere else? So I think they, try to cater to the players and say, okay, well, you can have free movement. It's the same thing as far as this likeness deal, where they can get paid. The NCAA say, all right, well, y'all can use y'all money, y'all can use y'all license for everything, but we're not going to pay you as a school, as an institution. That's what they want to do. It's sort of like, it's like we got problem with paying people all this money, but you ain't got no problem with paying coaches millions of dollars, assistant coach millions of dollars, or whatever it is. You can pay them millions of dollars, but you don't want to pay some of these athletes. So they let you use your likeness, and it's, at least it's a step forward.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot. It has to go a lot further because we the product on the floor. We the ones selling the tickets at the end of the day. So it doesn't really make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, but I think that with schools, sometimes with university, and it's a money-making business, they're going to look at what they're going to do is cut sports. You got field hockey, you got women's this, women's that. That's not revenue producing. Then they're going to start cutting programs. That's what they're going to do. If they're going to have to shell out money, that's what they're going to. That some other programs are going to suffer.
What you think back in the day, if the NIL was around when you were playing, what would that have been like for you?
What is it? The who?
The NIL, what is it? The name, image, and likeness.
Oh, if that.
Yeah. Bill Rapp.
Oh, well, you would try to take advantage of it. You just try to take it because it's tough to look, and you go up and you see 30,000. When we had 30,000, we'd get 28, 30,000 when no students were there. I mean, and then you come back and they don't want to give you extra socks. They don't want to give you a fresh pair of sneakers. Wait a minute, I see 30,000 people in this arena. That's tough to swallow as a player to do that. I wish it was around. You would have made a little bit more money and make it a little bit, your life a little bit comfortable and a little easier when you're on campus.
No question, 100%. So what was it like for you playing for Coach Boeheim? What was he like as a coach? I know obviously he's different now than he was back then, but what was that experience like for you?
It was a fun experience. I think that offensively he let us do what we do best. He wouldn't, if you didn't do something, he would get on you. If you're not a 3-point shooter, you out there jacking threes, he will say something. But if you're a shooter and you're shooting and you're missing, don't worry about it. Just keep shooting. If you open, shoot the shot. Offensively, he gave us a lot of latitude to do what you do best. And that's what I like about him. He didn't really restrict us anywhere. But we had fun. And that's the one thing we did. We had fun, we played hard.
And so I just know when I played, we had times at practice where we competing hard, we going at it. And we had times where we was like this, me and Johnny, and coach would kind of like sit back and he let it happen because and then after a little bit, all right, go. I mean, I know there was times with DC and guys like that in practice. Did you ever have any of those moments?
Oh, you always have we always have moments like that. It's anytime. We had a guy on our team, Earl Duncan, who was supposed to actually replace Pearl instead of me. We going back and forth, that year. There's nothing wrong with that. It's friendly competition. It's building character as a team. Sometimes even NBA guys will have fist fights, but then the next day you're playing a game and you slapping each other high fives. That's what it is. You just don't want it to spill after practice and guys keep fighting. You don't want nobody to get hurt, but fights in practice or competition is good for you.
Yeah, 100%. I love it. Like you said, that's how I grew up playing, is like with older guys and getting beat up, getting hit. But that, like you said, it built character and it made me better. Like it built that toughness in me. Like I play with a chip on my shoulder. And I feel like sometimes guys don't, like, if I'm playing right now and our team doesn't score the 5 possessions down the court, I'm going at somebody, tell I need the motherfucking ball. I need the ball. You gotta like that. You gotta have that in your chest. You know what I mean?
I understand. I seen you play. That's what I respect about you. That's what I did. And I always say, even when I remember playing against my homeboys, and we be playing in the back, I had to court in my backyard, we be playing, and like you say, 5 possessions, you ain't scoring, or they getting off to a good start and they keep scoring, they go on a 10-0 run, I'm gonna hit you. You know why I'm gonna hit you? I'm gonna get you off your game. I gotta do something to make you uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? If you're too comfortable going to your left, going to your right, just shooting jump shot without putting on the floor, I gotta make you feel uncomfortable. And that's what a coach always does, make the guy feel uncomfortable. One of the things that I learned, especially like playing in the NBA, is watch film. Film don't lie. It shows your tendencies or what you want to do. Now they got the whole breakdown of what you can do offensively. But back then, you watch film, you look at guys, you see what he likes to do. You see it is one of his favorite moves, where he's scoring the ball in a half court, where he likes to get the ball. Take him off his spot, make him uncomfortable, make him do stuff that he doesn't like to do. And that applied to anything in life. When a guy gets a little bit too comfortable, hit him with an elbow.
Step react.
Yeah, see, get him thinking, get him wanting to fight you or talking trash to you. He's not doing what he's supposed to do.
And then I think like when guys go through that early on, now when they get to college, pros, they getting hit with it. It's like, it's regular.
Right, it's regular and you're used to it. You've been through that adversity. It don't throw you off your game. You know what they're trying to do. You can stay focused and continue to do what you normally do, what you've been doing to score points. Now if you have adversity, I'm leaving, I'm transferring them out. It doesn't really build character. It doesn't build that you're strong. You have to fight through things. Things not gonna go your way all the time. Okay, you're gonna have adversity in life. You got to fight through it. You got to figure out how to get better.
100%. So you had a great 4 years at Syracuse, one of the greatest to come through, Cuse, one of the greatest guards. We talked about, NCAA assist leader all time. But then 1989 come after the season, you get drafted 28th overall by Miami. I mean, it's a childhood dream. What was that feeling like, just hearing your name getting drafted? And what do you remember from that night? Do you remember?
I don't remember much from that night.
Yeah.
I had a lot to drink that night. And it went to the I can remember going late, and the NBA draft can last a long time. And I can remember going to the Miami Heat, and people were like, back then that was their second year in the league, and people were like, Miami got a basketball team? And I was like, yeah, and I was like, oh man, but I knew Ronnie was on that team. And it was tough for me because that's when I was growing up, I wanted to obviously play for one of the big teams in the big market. But when I got to Miami and it's the winter time, and I'm like, oh, this is nice right here. This is real nice. The only tough part about it is coming from Syracuse and you have a home court advantage. When we were in Miami, it was tough because when the team from up north, the Boston Celtics, the Knicks, or anybody come and play us, you had more Knicks fans in the arena than you did have Miami Heat fans. That was tough, but I think that we had a coach, Ron Rothstein, who used to coach the Detroit Pistons and the Bad Boys. He was assistant coach back then. Taught me a lot about defense, taught me a lot about being a professional, being on time, taking this as a job and taking it serious. I'm glad I had him as a coach for the first time, and it helps you to grow up a lot.
So it wasn't, I don't think so, because you talk about y'all played 60%, 70% man. So it wasn't really like a stigma when y'all came into the league about if you could play D or not, right? It was kind of because you played man.
Well, we played man. I think that wasn't a stigma. I think that there's other things that's a stigma, but that wasn't it. Because you're a good enough athlete where you can play man to man. That's not a problem. I just think that, going there in the first time in Miami, we were a young team. Everybody on our team pretty much was like first, second, third year. We were just a young team, and we got our butt kicked all the time. And you going down there and you're playing hard. In the first 3 quarters, you're in the game. You're pretty much in the game. Fourth quarter, they just like you see Golden State now. They just pull away from you in the fourth quarter, and you're down by 25 points. That was hard for me.
So what is that then? So is it just like the experience, like for the players on that team to be able to play that fourth quarter out, or what was it for y'all?
It's experience. It's knowing how to win games. And if you don't have a go-to guy, we didn't have a go-to guy in Miami then to get buckets in the fourth quarter. You can everybody. I'm taking it from me, being a point guard. It's hard. You don't really know how the first 3 quarters, everybody can. You call a play up, Syracuse, which I used to call 2 up, 3 up. I don't know if they still call that. Where the guy runs off a single double pick.
Yeah, same. Same.
I remember he played a single double pick. Guys open the first 3 quarters on that, but the fourth quarter, guys can't get open. A lot of people don't realize some people just don't want to take the shot in the fourth quarter. They just don't want to take a shot. And I how I knew about the 2 up, 3 up, single double, because we played like Georgetown. You call that play, they out there because we call it that. So you have to change up a lot. You have to go back door. You have to make them play honest because you call 2 up, 3 up, boom, they're gonna do it. It's like when you play in the zone, we play, what is it, 2-4, 2-5, trap up top, trap in the corners.
Yeah.
Right back door, and it's gonna be a dunk. So you have to change up a lot of things. You can't go into against a good, like a team like Georgetown because of John Thompson. He gonna scout. He gonna know what's going on. Some coaches you can pull that off on. Some coaches you can't. You're gonna have to change your signals, change your calls, because if you do that, they're gonna have a counter and say, put a guy right in the middle. When you trap right in the corner, they're gonna throw it in the middle and go opposite, boom, either layup or a 3 on the other side.
Now, like a lot of time, how you talking about, because it was simple. Like everything coach do is simple. It's just basically you got guys to be able to make plays for themselves when they come off. So like when the person like reacted like that or cut it off, it was up to us really to make that different read. You know what I'm saying? Offensively, to, like you said, go back door or pop up. But it fell on us. Like he gave it. You had to make a play, right?
Well, you have to make a play. You have to have a counter. I learned this in the pro of having a counter, because you play 82 games, they're going to scout you. They're going to know what's going on. So you're going to have to, if you call that play, you're going to have to either fake it or have a double curl. Or if he shoots and go over the top, you go back door. So that's what we usually do. If you have a single double and the guy goes over, most times you want to force him over the double side because you got two big guys over there helping. If you take him over the single side, you got only one person over there.
Right.
And then that guy slip and go back door, there's nobody to help. So most teams, when you get older, when you get in the league, they will force you over the double side, have one center drop in the paint to protect against the back door, and the other one will cheat out to help out. So it's things you have to do. And but in college, what we used to do is if the guy go over the single side and go over the top, we gonna throw a lob right over, boom, bam, dunk. He's not gonna cheat anymore. He gonna play you straight up because nobody wants to get dunked on. So he gonna play you straight up. So you're gonna have to go over the single side. I just hit you. You gotta make the jump shot.
That's it. And if he's trailing you too hard, I'm going all the way curling.
Yeah, you just keep going. And if the big guy shows, you just dump it over and boom, there you go. You keep going.
100%. So you talked about those first couple years in Miami. You guys were young and struggled a little bit, but for you, like I was gonna ask you, like, how was the transition? But it was like smooth. It seemed like it was smooth for you because you got all rookie, NBA all rookie your first year, averaged like 14-8, I think, and then your second year, you averaging 18-8, and you get MVP of the team. So I mean, it seemed like you were comfortable kind of right away coming in.
Yeah, I was comfortable because, like you said, I mean, I was in the same position I always been, just the point guard, the starting point guard, run the offense. It was smooth for me. It was easy. It was having a coach and Ron Rothstein, who coached Isaiah Thomas. So he liked the point guard to run the show, call the offense. So that was easy for me. All I had to do was make the plays. Glenn Rice, Kevin Edwards, Ronnie Cycli, and Grant Long was there. We had a nice team. We were just young, but I always tell, but Ronnie said, Sherman, I remember because he was a year before I got there, and he was like, Sherman, this wasn't tough. Last year was tough. And I was like, how last year? It was, can you imagine? Because we had I think they had 3 teams or something come in. It was a balance. And the Miami Heat was playing all their games. They were playing basically in the Western Conference in Miami. That was tough for them because you had to go to LA for one game and come back and this and that. That was tough for them. So he was like, this year is going to be a lot easier for us.
Yeah, shout out Glenn Rice too. That's Michigan right there, Flint, Michigan. He was a shooter.
Rice was very helpful for me because you could just, if you leave him open, he was going to knock it down. A fantastic shooter.
So you talked about like kind of rewinding a little bit at Cuse. Those guys, DC, Ronnie, Stevie running the lane. Those guys made it easier for you. Did you feel like that going into Miami? Because obviously you had talented guys, or was it more work for you? Was it harder to get your stuff off?
It was always harder because you're taking that next step. Yeah. And you take that next step with a lot of young guys who really trying to make it themselves. So everybody really trying to figure out if they can play in this league. So that was hard. We had a couple of veterans on the team, but it was just hard just for a new organization, young guys. We took a lot of lumps, but it was good for me. It was good just to get your feet. It was good to learn playing. I could have got drafted by Detroit and been playing behind Isaiah Thomas and never got in the game. But you learn on the court, and I learned how to play.
So you played 12 years in the league, 5 different teams. So I think those first 2 years really kind of prepared you for like what to expect in like the ups and downs, adversity. You got traded. The NBA is a business that happens, right? So what during those 12 years, what organization for you was like, oh man, this feels like home. This is comfortable for me.
I was just talking to DC about this. I said, you know what, one of the things that I wish I could go back and do was probably stay in Miami, because I had the right to wanted to leave, because I was like, he was like, yeah, man. He said, DC was like, yeah, man, we had a bunch of Michigan guys coming down. He said, yeah, you had Glenn, Steve Smith, Willie Burton, and Grant, all those Michigan guys. You said you need some Michigan guys on your team. I said, man, I enjoyed playing with those guys, all of them. I mean, they were great guys on the team. I wish I would have stayed there, because I thought we had something building on. We were young, but I think we could have built and had something really nice. If I'd have stayed there. But like you say, it's a business, you move on. And, going to Boston was an experience for me. I mean, I played with Larry Bird, who had like 1 year left, and Kevin McHale was there, and Robert Parrish was there too. And that was a good experience for me, because I watched those guys growing up. And I was like, damn, I'm playing with these guys, man. And it was tough for McHale, because his ankle was hurt. He was on his last leg. He had flashes of great games, but then, you can't keep that up at that age. But he was definitely talented. I mean, you learned a lot just talking and sitting to him next to him on the bench.
What was that like going into Boston though? Like with all that history, Red Auerbach, Bill Russell, all that, and then you coming in there, obviously, like you said, Larry Bird, Kevin, they on their last leg, but even still, you going in there with all that, what was that like, man?
It was tough. I think the tough part about it is you're in a bad situation as far as the guys were older, and you keeping them around, and they weren't as good as they were back in the day. But then you have Reggie Lewis on the team, and he passed away, and he was going to be a star. He was getting 20-something a game. So you're like, dang. I mean, that set us back a lot. And so you got young guys coming in and playing, and that kind of hurt us, because he was going to be an outstanding. I mean, he had it going. He had a mid-range game that was really nice. He could play.
Hardest guy you ever had to guard in the league?
You know what? I always tell people the hardest guy that you have to guard in the league is the guy you don't prepare for. Everybody's professional. Everybody can play in this league or can do something very well. And if you don't prepare for a guy, you don't take a guy lightly, don't take him seriously, he can be the toughest guy that you can play against at night. So I always tell myself, prepare for everybody. Know what they like to do. Try to take away their strength and what they like to do. Take it away from them, make them uncomfortable, but never take nobody lightly.
So who was it though? Who was that guy who was really like, you know what I mean? I know you played against Mike.
Well, I mean, I didn't have to guard Mike for 48 minutes. That's easy. But guys, well, I would come to my position, and guys who were tough. Mark Price, once his jumper was on, was tough, because he could shoot 3 from deep, and he could go to the hole. And they set a lot of screens for him. That was tough. Tim Hardaway was a beat, and Kevin Johnson was tough. Ooh. Kevin Phoenix, because you're an Eastern Conference team, and you coming to play Phoenix, and if it's a back-to-back, and they would just start running. You could tell the difference. You say Big East, it was a difference back then between the Western Conference and the Eastern Conference. Okay. Eastern Conference, half court. Western Conference was just wide open, run and gun. So if you catch them on a particular night where You play back to back, and you come in East or West, and you play back to back, and Phoenix sitting around, and then you have to play them, and it's like Kevin Johnson was a bunch of pick and rolls and everything. So he could be a tough somebody to guard too.
So you was working harder on defense, and you coming down on the other end, guarding you. Now you got to go against.
I mean, it was a different brand of basketball. It was tougher, but it was good because it gets you out of your comfort of just playing half court, and you were wide open. And a lot of guys like that, just going up and down, back and forth, up and down. It was good. I liked it, but when you play a team like, let's say, Phoenix, it was all pick and roll. So you have to make adjustments. You have to trap him sometimes. You have to go over the top. You have to go under. You have to mix it up, because if you get somebody a steady diet of one thing, he's going to get into a rhythm, and he's going to start knocking down his jumper, or he's going to keep going to the hole and get your big guys in foul trouble. So you have to, okay, this quarter we're going to go under. This quarter we're going to trap. This quarter we're going to push them down to the baseline. You have to keep mixing it up.
So how do you think the game's different now from back when you were playing? Like, I guess the good and then the bad as well.
Well, I think that it's different. I think it's all good. I think that came up on defense, you just switch everything. Everybody just switch everything, because everybody's going to shoot and they just going to draw. They will have a layup and kick it out for a guy for a three. So it's I like it. I like it that it's wide open. You know, the only thing I dislike is the flopping on fouls. You know, some guy you jump into him and try to get a foul, or the James Harden, I'm going to the basket, I grab your arm and they give you the foul. That's what I don't like.
I think the game has definitely evolved, and like from a talent standpoint, like physical, athletically, like dudes is obviously the game has evolved from that. But like it's more of a, I think, I don't know, like the purity of the game almost. You feel what I'm saying? Like, so it's so much of a entertainment thing in the NBA now. Like you can see it, like dudes not really playing so hard, like, and it's a lot of games, 82 games.
Right.
You see it in the playoffs. You know what I mean? I just remember watching games back when I was growing up. Like, I grew up, I'm from Michigan, so I remember watching like Isaiah and Mike and like you said, Phoenix with Kevin Johnson, how they play. Like, it was a different, like dudes it was like a different level of toughness. You know what I mean?
You know what? It's a different, the toughness was different. You're not going to have guys like Truck Robinson or Maurice Lucas, those banging guys. They just faded them out. I can remember my high school coach told me he never really liked to watch NBA basketball because he didn't think guys play hard. You know, I was like, yeah. But then when I got to the league, I was like, you cannot have a college mentality, like night in and night out for 82 games. You burn yourself out. You get, like, it's like if Bobby Knight coaches the NBA, he couldn't yell and scream for 82 times. That just ain't gonna work. Somebody would have punched him out by the time you curse at it. It's just, you have to pick and choose when you want to, your spots. Not play hard, but your spots. There's some guys like Russell Westbrook plays hard, goes 100 every night. Some guys can't do it, some guys can't. You have to pick and choose of when you want to exert yourself, when you want to do it, because it is 82 games.
Who's your favorite player to watch right now in the league?
Ooh, Steph Curry.
That's 100%. That's my favorite, yeah.
Things that he do. And I can remember watching preseason, and I had my guys, we was texting each other about who's going to win the championship. And I say, once I saw Jordan Poole play, and I said, wait a minute. I said, watch out for the Golden State Warriors, because they playing the same way they did back in, I think, 2015 or whatever. They got Jordan Poole, and then when they get Clay and Wiseman back, oh man, that's a team right there. And Clay don't have to be 100%. You just stick him in the corner, even at 75 or 80, he gonna knock. Your shooting ain't gonna go away. Your athletics ability may be down a little bit. It may take him a full year for his movement to be there, but if you put him in that corner and the way Steph runs around and opens up his games for everybody else, Golden State gonna be a tough out. And one thing you trip on, they in your face defensively too. They in your face. You look at people a lot of times, and I say, even watching Chicago Bulls, you look at Jordan, you look at Pippen, you look at all the things that they were doing. It was defensively what they were doing. Just looking for a point guard. I mean, you had Ron Harper was like 6'5", 6'6". Jordan was, and Pippen had long arms, and Dennis Rodman was probably one of the smartest guys to play on a team. I mean, defensively, the way he rebound, and I look at rebounding. I played with a guy, Jason Williams, the big Jason Williams, the tall one.
Yeah.
And Rodman, I look at those guys as hell of a rebound because they was getting offensive rebounds. I mean, they would have like 16 rebounds and 10 of them would be offensive. That shows you working. Defensive rebounds, I mean, you can get rebounds falling in your lap, off free throws, the ball bounce, you just pick it up, you get the rebound. Those guys will get offensive rebounds. You got to work hard to get that many offensive rebounds.
That's the sign of a great rebounder, when you get those offensive rebounds like that.
Offensive rebounds, when you're working to get your team a second shot opportunity, and the Chicago defensively were in your face, and I see Golden State Warriors, they defensively getting at you.
And then going back to what you're talking about with Clay, even like you said, even if he's not 100%, he a threat regardless, and that guy got to stay there and that's just gonna make it easier for somebody else.
They're open for Steph to go backdoor, the other guys to go backdoor, pick and rolls, isolation. They screen, a big guy gets caught out on you. They don't like to leave the guys in the corner for threes. He got one-on-one to do whatever he wanted to do, shoot the threes. And the big guys, I feel bad for him trying to guard him because he just, he got the handles, he stepped back. And if you think you're on the three-point line, he stepped back a little further and then shoot it. And that's unbelievable. His talent is ridiculous.
I never seen a guy just forget he the greatest shooter, but how he doing stuff like right off the pickup, like bam, 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 boom, right into it, like behind boom. Like the pickup is crazy to be able to have that balance and then pick up right into the same. I ain't never seen nobody do nothing like that ever.
I've never seen somebody who, back in my day, or when you'll see a guy come off screens. You don't see a guy come off screens and can handle with the same efficiency, as like that. Normally a guy come off screens, he off screen, he shoot off screen. But he off screens on the dribble, catch and shoot. He got the whole package. So it's nothing you can take away from him. And if he gets on a particular night, it's nothing you can do.
My man.
The only thing you can do is knock him down and try to throw him off your game, but they don't allow that anymore.
That's what I see. I don't know. So Gilbert Arenas, he had he was speaking on the LeBron Isaiah Stewart altercation, and he was saying that there's 4 dudes in the league that you can't get in a fight with, as they gonna send you out. Bron, KD, and then he's like the two light-skinned dudes in Golden State, Steph and Clay. He said the NBA not letting you mess with those dudes right there.
I think that their team won't let you mess with those guys, more importantly.
Yeah.
And you saw DeAndre Jordan, you saw Carmelo, you saw AD was standing in front of him like you're not going to get to him. Rightfully so. As a team, you can't let nobody get to the guy who, going to take you to the promised land, who's making enough money for everybody. It was a unfortunate situation. And I think that the guy, Isaiah, who say how we react on that situation when you see the blood, you see everything. I just think that the second and third time, and then running back in the locker room, it may be a little far.
Yeah, it was a lot. I'm with you. Like if I get hit like that, yeah, I'm definitely the first time, but like I guess like the second, third time, yeah, he was going off a little bit. Yeah.
So somebody needed to calm him down, and he looked like he needed to be playing for the Lions because he broke through
yeah, he did.
5 guys and kept going. And I'm looking at him like he gonna get to him, but he didn't. Good that he didn't. Good thing that people in Detroit didn't come on the stand, didn't come out on the court. It's an unfortunate situation. I don't think LeBron did it on. I don't think LeBron meant to hurt him. I do think he knew that he was getting his hands off of it. He was hitting him with an elbow. He probably didn't hit him in the face, but he did.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he didn't. I don't think he meant to do him like that, but he did. He meant to, get off me, and then it just ended up You know how it ended up. I like Isaiah Stewart though. I think he has a lot of potential. He like a Ben Wallace type dude, you know?
Oh, I haven't watched too many Piston games. You know, they ain't on TV because of how. I saw that. I used to see that. They first Cunningham was struggling a little bit earlier, but I think he's going to get. He didn't have a lot of preseason, so he's going to get his feet going, and he probably be a good player.
He a good player. He played with good pace, and like he's stronger and bigger than this dude, but he remind me of like you remember Andre Miller?
Yes.
And how he played like he had 50 in the league a few times now. So he was old man game, how he played with pace.
Right. He's good. You know what? I was watching the other kid, the one at Houston. Oh man, that boy got some springs on him.
Jalen Green.
Yes. Woo.
Yeah, he's tough.
He's explosive. I saw that game and I was like, maybe they picked the wrong one, but you know, he's explosive and that's what you want to see. But give it some time. I think that the worst thing you could do is try to make him an instant star right away. You know, Cunningham, he'll get there.
A lot of talent in the league, man. It's like talent on every single team, for real. I mean, you know, Ja Morant, this dude is he's been playing like a top 3-point guard in the league.
He can go.
He can go.
He's fast. He's in Memphis, so that's tough for him. But he can go. He definitely can. I mean, he has game.
Yeah, he got game. So you're 12 years in the league. What's one thing that you learned out of those 12 years that you still keep with you today on a day-to-day basis, and then maybe something that you would share with these young kids coming up to that if they hit it, they know how to handle it?
Well, I think one thing that I'm repeating what I said earlier is never take nobody for granted. And when I was playing, you can't just say, "Oh, I'm playing against a non-starter this game. The starter's hurt." Never take nobody for granted. You're in this league, and you know, I had a fortunate being there for 12 years. It was a long time. Go out and play, give it your all every night because it could be your last night, and play and have fun. Whatever you do, have fun, play hard, and give it your all.
Okay, I'm gonna get you out of here. These last two questions. Your craziest Syracuse fan moment, because you had some. I know you had some.
Well, I don't have some. You know what? I know I had some. I'm gonna tell you, my freshman year when I wasn't playing, and I looked around the dome a lot of times, just watching the Dome Ranger used to run around, and then we're doing the wave, and that showed me. I was like, oh man, this is a special place to play here because it was unique. No other arena was like that. I mean, you played Providence was small, you know. Seton Hall didn't really have. They weren't on campus. Georgetown didn't have an arena on campus. And you look at Syracuse and St. John's didn't. A lot of you played, and Villanova didn't have an arena. So you look at Syracuse, you look at the Dome, you're like, man, this is a special place. They having fun here. It's community that got you there. The community of Syracuse, because people are like, oh, wow, how many students in Syracuse? I said, it's like 13,000, 14,000. It's not that big school. The city embraced us. So I just had fun just being in the Dome, going there and watching the game and looking around. My freshman year, I was like, oh my God, this is fun.
So when I went to Cuse, like, I know I'm close with Mo as well. And Mo's, right. He's in the Cuse, you know, Mo's in the Cuse, he's working. And we always talk about how, like, when we were up at Cuse, I was on campus, but I was outside. I was down the way. I was in the community. That's just kind of, and like Syracuse really accepted you. You know what I mean? Like if you play ball, you were a local celebrity, but I was down the way in the community, and I know you were as well. So like, what was?
So you on the South? What?
Go ahead.
You on South Carolina?
No, I mean I was everywhere. You know what I'm saying? I was down the way east. My man was on the east side. But like, I guess what I was trying to get to, what does the community mean to you? Because for me, like they show me so much love, man. And I think Syracuse is different. You know what I mean?
It's different. I like, there's a change of pace. When you're on campus, it's a bubble. And it's not reality to me, especially where So I like to go on South Side because I can be comfortable there. It wasn't like they was going to scare me. I was going to see something I never saw before. Hey, I went to get my hair cut. I know where to go. That was easy for me, being down there, being with my people, going to concerts and doing that because I grew up on that. And I always want to be a part of, because being on campus was for me, coming from the inner city. I wanted to be a part of the community, go on campus, saying hi to guys. You know, like you said, you're a local celebrity. Everybody waiting for you. What's up, sir? Hey, how you doing? Y'all gonna win tonight? I like that. I enjoyed that. That was easy for me.
No, 100%. Last question. I'm gonna get you out of here with this one. What did it mean? What did it mean to you to be able to have your daughter go to the same university, graduate that you was a star at?
That was a proud moment for me. You know, I wanted her to go there for her, not don't go there for me. And that's when I said, because she got accepted into Maryland, she got accepted to the University of Miami. And I was like, "Ooh, Miami, that's nice." But and she was like, "Well, I want to see what's up with Syracuse." I say, "No problem, but we going in the wintertime. I'm gonna let you see how it is, and because I don't want to hear no phone calls. You want to transfer." I'm proud that and happy that she went to the school. She picked the school. She's happy that she went to school. I'm proud that she got into a new house. She finished a new house. She enjoyed her time. I told her she's gonna have fun first. Syracuse is a fun school. And I'm proud that she definitely wanted to go to school that I went to. A big moment for me, and obviously a big moment for her mother too.
Hey, sure, man. It's been an honor, man, for real. I mean, I look up to you guys, DC, Mo. I watch you guys growing up, so it's an honor to have you on the podcast, man. I appreciate you coming on, showing love.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for letting me share my moments with you and all your fans out there. I really appreciate it.
Man, you already know. I hope you come on again sometime down the road.
No problem. Just let me know.